Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What if the New York Mets are about to pull off the move that saves their entire offseason? Stop scrolling right now because what I'm about to tell you is going to change how you view this team going forward. This is massive. What's going on, everyone? We need to talk about what just happened because the Mets are officially in play for a superstar. I'm not talking about rumors. I'm not talking about speculation. We have actual physical evidence and real reporting that confirms the New York Mets are involved with one of the biggest names still sitting in free agency, and this could change everything. Pat Ragazzo over at Sports Illustrated, who's also been a friend of the show, just dropped this bomb. Sources say the Mets met with free agent Kyle Tucker. Jim Duquette had this late yesterday, talking about how the Mets have actually sat down with Tucker. I believe they're one of three teams in serious contention here. But let me break this down for you because this is huge. The New York Mets have a chance to fix what has been an absolutely frustrating offseason for the fan base. We've talked about this on the show time and time again. Brandon Nimmo, Edwin Diaz, Pete Alonso, none of these guys have been replaced. Are you a true believer in Jorge Polanco? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not. But here's what we know. The New York Mets have met with free agent superstar Kyle Tucker, and multiple sources told Mets on SI that the meeting went well. The Mets are cautiously optimistic about their chances in the race for Tucker. That's a great sign. We talked about this yesterday. The Alex Bregman contract changed everything for everyone this offseason. Nobody saw him getting $35 million a year over 5 years at age 32. That's insane. And what that does is push other free agents higher up the board in terms of average annual value. I don't think Major League Baseball or most teams wanted to drive up these salaries this year, but what Bregman got was absolutely crazy. You're seeing reports from Jared Carabas talking about how the Red Sox tried to make it work with Bregman, but at the end of the day, they didn't have the highest offer, so they let him walk, allegedly over $10 million. But these higher annual values might actually signal better things for the New York Mets. Jim Duquette on SiriusXM and SNY was the first to report this meeting. In addition to the Mets, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers have also met with Tucker, either in person or via Zoom. Here's the actual tweet Duquette put out. A league source confirmed to me that the three teams involved in the Tucker negotiations, Toronto, the Dodgers, and the Mets, have all met with the player either in person or over Zoom as part of the recruiting process for this star player. It's going to be really interesting to see if any of these three teams end up landing him. And I'll say this, you brought in Juan Soto. Part of Juan Soto's job is to help with recruitment. I understand the allure of the LA Dodgers. They've got everything going for them, but they probably have to move off Teoscar Hernandez. Toronto recently made a World Series run, and Tucker would be hitting in a lineup with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and those guys. Bo Bichette is probably gone, in my opinion. But you've got Lindor and Soto in New York. That recruitment needs to be turned all the way up. At the end of the day, I think Tucker's going to go to the highest bidder. That's what all these guys do. Everyone thinks, oh, he's going to take less money because he wants to go to L.A. No. He's not leaving $1 on the table. Nobody does. Ragazzo goes on to say Tucker would be a significant acquisition for the Mets, who are going to look a lot different in 2026 after losing Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz in free agency and trading away franchise mainstay Brandon Nimmo and Jeff McNeil this offseason. We also need to talk about that, by the way. What utility player are the Mets bringing in of Jeff McNeil quality or better to replace him? They basically just salary dumped him. They got a 17-year-old pitcher who nobody's really heard of. I'm not saying he won't be good down the line, because if you go back to the Milwaukee days when David Stearns traded for Freddie Peralta, he was a nobody at the time, just a kid. Things can change, but right now that's what we're dealing with. Should the Mets sign Tucker, he could potentially take over right field duties, which would push Juan Soto to left field or vice versa. Obviously, Soto would have to be okay going to left, which I think he would be because he's already got his money. The Mets have Tyrone Taylor, Harrison Bader, and Jason Dominguez set to compete for the center field job in their outfield. And honestly, that kind of upsets me. I'm not going to lie. I would like something better than that. Tyrone Taylor at the bottom of this lineup is a zero. Harrison Bader, Once he got to AAA last year, he struggled. We can't say he didn't, and we don't know what Jason Dominguez is going to be. Those are big question marks out there, but you hope one of them steps up. Tucker is 28 years old. He'll be 29 by next season. He's coming off a year where he slashed 266, 337, 464 with an 841 OPS, 22 homers, 73 RBIs, and a 4.6 WAR for the Houston Astros in 136 games. Remember, he missed some time, so those numbers could absolutely improve. He's a 25 to 30 home run guy, clutch, high on base percentage. That OPS is almost like a better Brandon Nimmo. Actually, a lot better than Brandon Nimmo. Injuries have plagued this superstar the past 2 seasons and caused an abysmal second half for Houston in 2025. That's true. We can't ignore that. I mean, it is what it is. He's been hurt, but you pay for stars. That's what you do. For his career, Tucker has been one of the best and most consistent outfielders in baseball. In 8 big league seasons, Tucker has made the All-Star team a total of 4 times while slashing 273 for his career with an 865 OPS, 147 home runs, and 490 RBIs. Those are serious numbers. Defensively, Tucker was a -2 outs above average and -1 defensive run saved in right field last season. But between 2021 and 2024 with the Houston Astros, Tucker posted a combined 30 defensive runs saved in right field. A healthy Tucker would easily enhance the Mets' run prevention philosophy that we all love to hear about by upgrading the team's defense. I agree with that. Last year he was hurt. You've got to give him credit for that. He's got a track record. He's got a plus arm. He's a solid defender. A lot of people like to point out last year's defense and ask if he's starting to decline. No, I'm not totally sold on that. I think he was hurt last year. Following a slow collapse where they missed out on the postseason by just 1 game, we all know the Mets have frustrated their fans this offseason by overhauling their roster without really replacing the key pieces they lost. That being said, the addition of Kyle Tucker would completely change the attitude of the fan base and ultimately increase the Mets' chances of contending for the playoffs and a World Series in 2026. And that's the key right there. But one thing that can't go understated, what is going to happen in this pitching market? Something's got to give. It can't just be Kyle Tucker and a bunch of mid-tier guys. You saw Edward Cabrera get traded. Aaron Savale is off the market. Supposedly Freddie Peralta is in play, but I'm not making that trade unless you fill in the outfield with a guy like Tucker. It looks like the Yankees are out on Cody Bellinger, allegedly pivoting to Roki Sasaki, along with the Boston Red Sox, so expect that market to heat up very shortly. But guys, it's now January 12th. We're midway through the month. Pitchers and catchers are about to report, so expect things to drop within the next few days. The Mets are in a position right now where they can actually make a statement. Tucker, Lindor, Soto in the same lineup. That's a completely different team than what we thought we were going to get a few weeks ago. And if they can pair that with an upgrade to the rotation, whether it's through trade or free agency, suddenly you're looking at a legitimate contender. The recruitment aspect of this is critical. You've got Soto in the building now. Use him. Get Tucker on the phone. Show him what this organization is building. The Dodgers have their appeal, sure, but the Mets have the money and the pieces in place to compete right now. Toronto is interesting, but are they really closer to a championship than the Mets? I don't think so. This is the move that changes the narrative. This is the move that makes fans believe again. And if the Mets pull this off, everything else they've done or haven't done this offseason suddenly makes a lot more sense. Kyle Tucker in a Mets uniform would be massive, and based on what we're hearing, it's a real possibility. The next few days are going to be absolutely critical. This is where championships are built, and the Mets are right in the thick of it.